Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
What's going on, guys? So I'm excited as hell today because Donald Trump just got his final infinity stone and he's ready to snap Kamala Harris and all these radical leftists out of existence. RFK Jr. just suspended his campaign today and endorsed Trump. Okay, so this has some major ramifications that we're going to get into a little bit later in this video. But for the time being, I want to show you guys how ridiculous this is. One of the reasons why RFK Jr. dropped out of the race is because he said that his own party, the Democrats, basically the party of democracy, literally is in their name. They claim to fight for democracy, but they're continually circumventing democracy, and the liberal media is working with them to facilitate it. They're colluding to facilitate basically complete control over the government and the elections. RFK Jr. was pointing this out, and they literally cut him off in the middle of his speech long before he was even done speaking.
My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days.
We've been listening to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from Phoenix outlining what led him to his quixotic quest for the White House to now dropping out and relinquishing the title of...
These dum-dums literally just started talking over him. The audacity to think that somebody want to listen to y'all's goofy asses over RFK Jr., a historical name. The Kennedy name is a historical name. Most people know the Kennedys, even if you didn't grow up with the Kennedys. I didn't grow up with the Kennedys, but I know the Kennedys. And you're going to cut off his historic speech, a concession speech. What is with these radical leftists? These dummies literally proved his point in the middle of him making the point. How stupid can you be?
Slap yourself.
And as predicted, if you saw my previous videos, he joined Teflon Don on the stage out there in Glendale, Arizona. It was so freaking glorious. I was hollering at the TV today.
Man, whoa. And he deserves it. He deserves it. For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it. And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like you had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, you know, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody I got applause like that.
He said he didn't want any more $200 billion wars in Ukraine, that we could use that money back here in the United States. Don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country? And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys? They're always the bad guys, because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism. Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
Wow, that was something, huh? That was something. But Bobby and I will fight together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return control of this country to the people. And all who supported Bobby's campaign, I very simply ask you join us in building this coalition. It's a beautiful coalition in defense of liberty and safety, prosperity and peace. It's going to be an incredible coalition, and the relationship has been so good for so long. I have no doubt it's going to work and work well. But we have to win. We have to take our country away from these people that are going to destroy our country.
So very exciting news. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, does this really help? Because RFK Jr., for lack of a better term, is a leftist, okay? Some people don't really like to agree with that, but literally the dude was running as a Democrat. Hello, like he clearly is on the left. He sees himself as on the left, okay? So he's not exactly MAGA, but he's joining the MAGA movement, and he said he wants to form the Unity Party. And I'm in complete agreement with this because, again, I used to be on the left too, because what used to be the left, as RFK stated himself back in his father's time, was very different compared to what it is today. I don't know what the hell they got going on today.
In those meetings, he suggested that we join forces as a unity party. We talked about Abraham Lincoln's team of rivals. That arrangement would allow us to disagree publicly and privately, and fiercely if need be, on issues over which we differ, while working together on the existential issues upon which we are in concordance.
Now it's become the place of transgender, LGBTQ, women getting their ass beat by some dude in a boxing ring. It's gone bananas. Like taking people off the ballot, trying to throw people in jail for being your political opponent, for challenging elections. Meanwhile, Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton could just say whatever the hell they want about their election. Oh, it was stolen, it was rigged, it was Russia. Whatever the hell they want to say, they could say it. But Donald Trump, he gets thrown in freaking jail. Like, it's gotten ridiculous. So the math has been done, okay? A lot of pollsters have looked at the data. And there's good news and bad news. Do some voters go to Kamala Harris? Yes, obviously. But the question is, who gets more of RFK Jr.'s vote? One. And two, who gets more of his vote pending an endorsement? And that answer is obviously Donald J. Trump. Take a look.
A development like Kennedy dropping out of this race could be significant. Look, he was polling. Let's take you through the history of this. We're going to start here. This is when Biden was still the candidate, pre-Harris as the Democratic candidate. And this is an average of all the national polls. So just before Joe Biden dropped out, on average, in a three-way race that included RFK, you see Trump was leading Biden. Kennedy was sitting there at 9.2% on average. And it was a lead there of 3.5 points. Donald Trump was leading Joe Biden. Now, Biden gets out of the race, Harris gets in the race, and that's been a little bit more than a month now. But you see Harris, Trump, Kennedy. A couple things you notice. Number one, in the month since Harris replaced Biden, the Kennedy support's dropped almost in half, now just over 5% on the average. And that Harris support relative to Biden, look at that. That's gone up significantly, almost 7.5 points. The Trump support is more level, only up about a point right there. So you could see Harris actually pulling into the lead here over Trump in the three-way now since she became the candidate. And here's where it gets interesting. What if, the polling's been out there, without Kennedy, what does it look like, Harris versus Trump? And here you can see it. Harris still leads, but it gets tighter. Look, in a three-way race with Kennedy, Harris's margin over Trump is 2.7 points. Without Kennedy, Harris's margin over Trump is 1.6. It's a little bit more than a 1-point tightening of the race with Kennedy out, according to the polls. And like it, these swing states, we talk about them, it's 10,000 votes here, 20,000 votes there. When you're talking about potentially the difference of 1 point, that could be massive, that could be enormous. So certainly that's why the Trump folks are excited to have Kennedy dropping out and getting on board with them.
First time. Today, RFK Jr. had suspended his campaign, endorsing Trump. Kennedy telling reporters that Trump had asked him to, quote, enlist him in his administration. Now, the latest swing state polls show Kennedy with 5 or 6% of the vote. And so when you think about it overall, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. Actually, if that is the case in swing states, it is huge. It is everything. It is more than the margin between Harris and Trump in some of those same states.
So, guys, either way, if the polls are any indication, we're still currently looking at somewhat of a close race. Bear in mind, we still got September 10th. Be on the lookout for this date because I will be live streaming that event. I'm not going to speak over, if anybody's curious, if you saw my last live stream, I'm not going to talk over the debate, only on like commercial breaks and stuff. But I will be live streaming the debate, so be sure to be on the lookout for that if you want to see my live reactions, because I already know it's about to get nasty. Kamala Harris isn't ready for the level of skill that Donald Trump brings. Nobody is. The person who was the closest is Hillary. And Donald Trump wasn't even that experienced back then, and he still smoked her ass. Okay, so it's going to be a slaughter. If the same people that was coaching Biden is coaching Harris, she's going to get cooked. It doesn't matter about underestimating her, any of this stuff. Donald Trump knows what he's doing. He literally talks to the press and takes questions every single day, like 7 days a week. It's basically impossible to catch him off guard with anything. So this is going to get ugly. Kamala Harris ain't really getting any practice. She practicing in her basement somewhere for a debate with somebody probably not going nowhere near as hard, obviously, as Trump's going to go. They're not throwing nothing beneath the belt that's going to piss her off. Donald Trump is built different, and Kamala Harris ain't. She's not ready, and I can't wait to see her get freaking chopped off at the knees in this debate on September 10th. It's about to be glorious. Shout out to RFK Jr. and all his supporters out there. So, again, not on the left over here, but I do still consider myself an independent voter, and I'm willing to join forces. Okay, we got this Infinity Gauntlet. It's time to snap these leftists the hell up out of the White House, the hell up out of Congress, and the hell up out of our lives, and we're going to make America great again. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
A series of long, intense discussions, I was surprised to discover that we are aligned on many key issues. It's with a sense of victory and not defeat that I'm suspending my campaign activities. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children. And now, to throw my support to President Trump